Welcome back to the last of our trilogy this week. We've done the story, Jess, the GP surgery, the laptop close that changed everything. We've done the science, the prefrontal cortex, the high performer trap, and recovery as performance. Now, as usual, we bring the energy, but the right kind of energy. Energy that is sustainable. Welcome back to Unshakable Her, helping ambitious women who are constantly second-guessing themselves to build the daily habits that compound into unshakable confidence. I'm Caroline Esterson, and I'm in your corner. Today, it's Friday. We've heard the story in Monday's episode, and we've understood the science of what's holding us back from Wednesday. Now we're closing the week with a song that holds everything we've covered, so you can carry the week's confidence tips with you when the podcast ends. Plus, 3 quick-fire career moves, small enough to use before Monday morning and sharp enough to make a 2mm difference to edge you towards that promotion. Because Unshakable isn't built in a moment, it's built in the moves you make between Mondays. Let's go. So here's what you're going to get from today's episode. First, a song that perfectly captures the problem and the possibility at the same time. Alicia Keys at full power with something important to say about what it costs to burn that bright. Then, my straight-talking answer to the question high performance always ask but rarely say out loud. How do I perform at my best without losing myself in the process? And 3 little moves for the long game, not the sprint. The career that keeps going and keeps being good for years. Let's get to it. So, no surprises for this week's song. It is Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys. And when I say this song is this week's trilogy in 3.5 minutes, I mean it. Because here's what's interesting about Girl on Fire if you really listen to it. It's not just a celebration. It's a description of someone burning so brightly, moving so fast and carrying so much. She's got both feet on the ground and she's burning it down. That you can't quite tell if you're watching a triumph or a warning. She's running, she's on fire, and she looks unstoppable. But fire needs fuel. And the question the song doesn't ask, the question that this week is entirely about, is what happens when the fuel runs out. Alicia Keys wrote this during a period when she was one of the most successful artists in the world, working at a relentless pace and simultaneously running on empty in ways the outside world just couldn't see. Sound familiar, right? Here's the thing about being the girl on fire. The fire is real. The brilliance is real. The capacity to do extraordinary things is genuinely, completely real. But fire without tending goes one of 2 ways, doesn't it? It burns everything around it, or it goes out. What we're building this week, what Jess built with her daily clothes and her shower breakthroughs, is something different. It's a fire that's tended, fueled deliberately and managed carefully. It can burn at full intensity when it needs to, and it can be given the space to breathe when it doesn't. That's not less fire. That's the fire that lasts. What would Caro do? Sometimes you don't need permission. You just need better advice. So the scenario for this week, you're good at your job, really good. And the better you get, the more you're given, more projects, more responsibility, more expectation. You don't want to say no because you love the work and you don't want to be seen as someone who can't handle it. But you're tired in a way you can't explain and you're starting to dread the thing that you used to love. What do you do? What would I do? First, I'd name what is actually happening, not to my manager, not yet anyway, to myself. That feeling you're describing, dreading the thing you love, is a physiological signal. It's your nervous system telling you the debt has got too large. Hear it. Don't override it. Second, I would do Jess's exercise right now, today. When is enough actually enough? Write it down. If you can't answer it, and a lot of high performers struggle with this, that gap between not defined enough and full capacity output is where the burnout lives. Third, and this is the one most people skip, I would get brutally honest about what actually matters, not what's loud or urgent, not what you've always done because you've always done it, what is genuinely, materially the most important work on your plate right now. And why? Because here's the truth. You can't do everything well. You can do the right things brilliantly, or you can do everything adequately. Choose. And once you've chosen, look at what's left and ask the harder question. Who else could do this? Not who else would. Most of us flinch at handing things off because we tell ourselves it's quicker to just do it. It isn't. Not over a year, not over your career. Handing off work is not dumping. Done well is developing someone else while protecting your own capacity. That's 2 wins for the price of 1 uncomfortable conversation. And a break from the norm today, this 4th action point pulls everything together. I'd actually have the capacity conversation, not a complaint, not a breakdown, a professional, forward-looking, clean conversation with my manager. Something along the lines of, I want to keep delivering at this level for the long term. To do that sustainably, I need to think with you about what's on my plate right now. That isn't weakness, it's strategic self-management. And the good managers, the ones worth working for, will respect it enormously. So if you pull all of that together, here's what we're really saying. Burnout doesn't get solved by working harder at recovery. It gets solved by getting honest. Honest about what your body is telling you. Honest about what enough looks like. And honest about what actually matters and what you've just been carrying out of habit. Honest in the conversation with the person who can help you reshape the load. 4 moves. None of them require you to quit, blow it all up, or become someone you're not. Just 4 acts of honesty with yourself and with the person you work for. That's what I would do. What will you do? 3 little moves to make you unshakable, small enough to start Monday, sharp enough to change everything. So, quick pause here before we go on, because I'm going to do something a little different from here on in, and I want to tell you why. You've been hearing me talk about little moves since the podcast started. They've shown up in What Would Caro Do, those in-the-moment responses to the specific situations we've been working through together. They get you out of the immediate fire. But here's what I'm noticing in my work and in working with you. The in-the-moment moves are necessary, but they're not really enough. They get you through the week. They don't change the shape of your career. So from this episode forward, I'm adding something new, quickfire career moves. These are different. These aren't about today's fire. They are the moves you make now that build your long game. The habits, the systems, the small architectural shifts that mean 5 years from now, you're not having the same conversation with yourself that you're having today. What would Caro do is your triage. The quickfire career moves, they're architecture. You need both, so I'm going to give you both every Friday from now on. So the 3 little moves for the long game are right now. Here we go. Move number 1, build your personal definition of done. Most high performers operate without one. The list is endless, the inbox infinite, the goalposts move every week. And so done becomes whatever exhaustion decides for you. That's not a strategy, it's just a slow drain. Your long game move is to build a personal definition of done you carry with you for the rest of your career. Not just for this week, forever. And before you panic, because I can hear you panicking, I really can, and there's a little bit of me panicking with you. This episode is talking directly to me and I'm taking notes too. So let me tell you what this actually looks like, because define your done sounds great until you sit down to do it and realize you have absolutely no idea where to start. So here's how to start. Pick one of these sentences and try it on for size. A successful day ends when I've done 3 things that move my biggest projects forward, even if my inbox isn't empty. Or a successful day ends when I've protected 1 block of deep work, taken a proper lunch, and finished the 1 thing I told myself yesterday I'd do today. Maybe it's a successful day ends when I've made progress on something that matters to me, not just responded to things that mattered to other people. Or even a successful weekends when I've moved my top 3 priorities forward, had one meaningful conversation with someone on my team, and protected at least one evening that was genuinely mine. See what's happening there? None of them are finish everything. None of them have an empty inbox, and none of them are be available to everyone all the time, because those aren't definitions of done. They're definitions of impossible. A real definition of done is specific. It's measurable. It tells you when to stop. And this is the bit that takes courage. It accepts that some things will be left undone at the end of the day. And that's the whole point. The people who sustain brilliance for decades aren't working without limits. They've defined their own. And once it's defined, they protect it like it's a contract. Because it is with themselves. So this week, draft your first version, just one sentence. A successful day for me ends when. Don't try and get it right. Get it written, then test it over the next week. Refine it the week after. By the end of the month, you'll have something that's actually yours. Move 2, schedule your recovery slots. This week, when you fill out your calendar with meetings and deadlines and deliverables, add in your recovery slots. It's not a holiday. It's not a spa day. These are micro recoveries. The lunch break you actually take, the 20-minute walk that isn't also a phone call, the hour on Friday afternoon that is genuinely protected for deep work. Block it, label it something professional if you need to, but protect it because the research is clear. The recovery isn't what happens after the performance. It's what makes the performance possible. So open your calendar right now, find 3 slots this week and protect them before anything else fills them in. And then move 3, become someone who talks about capacity out loud. Not once or in a crisis, as a regular professional habit. The biggest long game move you can make is to normalize the capacity conversation in how you work with your manager, with your team, and with yourself. That means quarterly check-ins where you're actually looking at your plate honestly. It means saying, I'm at capacity before you drown, not after. And it means asking, what would you take off your plate if you could, before you say yes to the next thing? It means modeling it, especially if you lead people, because the people watching you are learning whether this is a workplace where capacity gets discussed or whether it's a workplace that you have to suffer in silence and then leave. The high performers who last are not the ones who never hit their limit. They're the ones who built the muscle of talking about it before it became an emergency. Put a recurring 30-minute slot in your calendar, monthly, labeled capacity check-in. Just you, look at what's on, what's coming, and what needs to come off. Then take that conversation to your manager when something needs to shift. Okay, so that's this week's trilogy done. Jess's GP surgery, the prefrontal cortex, high performance trap, Alicia Keys, and a fire that needs tending. Together with 3 moves for the version of your career that isn't just brilliant, but lasts. You are allowed to be on fire. Just make sure you're the one holding the match. So that's it from me this week. Before you go, if something this week made you nod, laugh, or think, finally someone said it, leave a rating wherever you're listening. Just a couple of taps, that's all it takes. And it helps other women just like you who are spiraling and searching for help to find this show. I'm Caroline Esterson. You came here for career advice, but what you're really building, week by week, move by move, is someone no one can shake. See you Monday.